Oh no!
Awesome.
Mind my business!
Fail.
Mind my business.
Oh yeah.
Mind my business. Hey everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Mind My Business. It's the opinion podcast from Hype 1000, and today is a landmark event that happened. And for the first time ever, the US podcast market, the advertising market, surpassed the $1 billion threshold. So it's big news, because for nearly 2 years it's been in the making. It's been discussed. So people expected it to surpass the $1 billion $1 billion threshold. A year and a half ago, COVID kind of like made that it didn't happen due to COVID, and now it finally happened in 2021. So it's big news, because what does that mean? Not just only that, a lot of money is spent in podcast advertising, and that is something that hopefully we will see more and more in Germany as well. It's big in Germany already, but if you compare it to the US, it's tiny. So it's growing. It's new brands coming in, and I guess we need to say, especially due to the great work that Podstars by OMR it has been doing in the past. IQ Media is one of the pioneers. Julep came in as a hosting platform, and now as well as an online advertiser. So in that area, just to name a few that's been, that help build, an industry around advertising, making podcasting more relevant for a lot of people. There's not a lot of people that can live just off the advertising spend. It's a small group of people, but it's growing. And the real, the underlying bigger impact that I see from that is the maturity of that whole industry. The more money goes in, the more professional the whole industry becomes, the more relevant and attractive it becomes, the more people look at podcasting in different ways when it comes to, your corporate formats for B2C, for B2B, for B2E. It's new formats coming. It's new players coming in the market, from analytics over advertising, content houses like publishers, creators. So a whole industry growing. Of course, looking at the German market, it's always going to be much smaller than the English-speaking market, with 100 million German-speaking people in the world. Of course, it's just a fraction of that, of the English-speaking market. And it's going to be interesting to see, the first big German podcasters that will, possibly look at, and media houses as well, look at, an international market, and maybe saying, okay, let's switch from what we've seen on Instagram, the same kind of like development, what we've seen on Instagram, from moving moving your content that has been exclusively in German because you're a German influencer, turning it and building an audience here, and then turning it into English. And it was quite interesting to see that OMR was doing that quite a bit in the past. I think they stopped doing it. An international podcast. This is an experiment that we're doing because, we're a Germany-based company, but, we're working on the global market. So we decided to very early on do this podcast in English and do a lot of our communication and in English, and this is the first language in our company, so it's going to be interesting to see that. So really great news, and I think it's a landmark for that entire industry, and it's going to be interesting to see when people start spending more money on it, the industry becoming more mature, that we will see a lot of innovation happening in the coming years. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. That was the news that were quite big to me today, and my opinion on that. I will hear you on Wednesday again, and thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye bye.
Why don't you mind your business?